Charlie Chaplin, the back-taking career, and the root of many controversies of the Sac Lo. Throughout the development process of the American film industry, Charlie Chaplin, the Vietnamese often called the Sac Lo, is one of the most famous actors, even considered a symbol. Especially he contributed greatly in developing the film form. Therefore, the lifeblood of the Sac Lo also caused not little controversy. Charlie Chaplin was born on April 16, 1889, in a family with a poor situation, in southern London, England. His mother not only did not have a stable career, but his father also had a complicated life, having 3 children with 3 men. His mother also had to go to the mental hospital for treatment. Because of such a birth, Charlie had a difficult childhood. From the time he was born until he was born, knew how to speak, he often went here and there with his mother. They wandered around the city of London to ask for food or do heavy work. Charlie grew up without the good care of his parents. At the age of 17 he had to stay in the rescue camp, and a year later, he was transferred to the school for the school homeless. In his early 20s, Charlie continued his life sleeping in abandoned consisted of streets in southern London. The lifeblood of the Ross is in London. The high school dog and Bitcoin is on another level in many areas, according to numerous specialist studies. In exploit anyways, how much money does it fake any parent? In tools unknown, in other words, actually right. Charlie Chaplin has been successful in playing a young man to become a favorite character. Since then, Charlie's life has gone in another direction. The success story of the character of the King of Sardinia. At the age of 10, Charlie Chaplin increasingly revealed the organization of the artist, with the ambition to become a great artist. That is why he was born into the band called the Carnal Call. Here, Charlie had the first steps in his career when he was in the same band to perform in the US in 1910, the second time performing in the US, with his great performance skills. Charlie fell into the eyes of the New York Company Motion Picture Company. By 1913, he signed a contract with this company, receiving a salary of $150 a week. There was a time Charlie suddenly cried out, "America, we are coming to conquer you." The first time Charlie was born, he was a young man, and his parents and children would mention his name, Charles Spencer Chaplin. Charlie was not wrong. Until 1914, he participated in the first film, called Making a Living, and successfully received the award, making the whole US know his name. With his signature beard, Charlie played a legendary leader named Edgar English. Also in 1914, the character of Little Tram, Charlie's Little Wanderer, Kate odorizes at Venice. His Little Tram character is a viewer who accidentally interrupted the car race. And the film was filmed at a real race. The actors have adapted, based on the actual filming situation. Charlie developed his Little Tram character into a special character in 35 short films. The audience was impressed by the man who walked with a characteristic rim and round eyes. In French, Spanish, and other languages, this character is called Charlotte. In Vietnam, we read it as Sac Lo. Viewers feel that Little Tram never changed his clothes. Always faithful to a wide shoulder, with a tight vest, with a big poor shoe, making him always have to kick 2 feet. Little Tram rarely leaves his tiny black hat. His hands are always empty with a baton. The idea of ooh-ah costume, that builds up that humorous image, was born in 1913, when Charlie accidentally put on the costume above. He shared that the cucumber-shaped hat showed ambition. The edge of the hat showed zeal. The coat with a sharp edge to the neck, or the stick to describe a man who is looking for a way to lure others and self-confirm himself. This man chases after the dreams and he knows that. You are what's successful on top. After becoming a guest actor in the United States, Charlie wanted to become an actor, and the film 20 Minutes of Love was the first work he tried as a film director. In 1915, Charlie became more and more famous when the dolls, hats, tuxedos and rubber candies with his image were sold all over the world. The writers of the magazine challenged him to be the subject. Even people said that from the only English that many people live in Africa, Asia and South America, know as Charlie. At the age of 26, Charlie became the world's highest income artist when he was paid by the film company Montreal Films for $670,000. The final film about his character, Later Trump, is Modern Times in 1936. The film belongs to the second generation. It is about the life of millions of unemployed people facing unemployment, no property in the midst of a great crisis. Charlie also played the role of a fascist and a tie haircut in the film The Great Dictator. His acting was excellent to the point that the film received 2 Oscar nominations for Best Actress and Best Film. When the film ended, Charlie said, "We want to live for the happiness of others, not for the pain. We do not want to accept the hatred of others. The knowledge makes us bitter. The arrogance makes us tough and cruel. We are not afraid of the pain. We think too much and feel too little." In 1952, Charlie returned to London, England, and then moved to live in Switzerland. 20 years later, he returned to the United States to receive the award at the Oscar ceremony, and the audience applauded him for a long arm wrestling, almost 12 minutes. The marriage is full of megaphone sounds. The young man created the name Ringer when and passed away. Women who have passed Charlie Chaplin's life, as well as many indiscriminate. Although he has a small body, only about 1.6 m, a big head and a soft, chubby body, he is lucky to have deep green eyes, white skin, and a polite way of living. This has made many girls admire him as a loser. Charlie once openly admitted his sexuality, however. The image of his sad childhood was left behind by his mother, making him never trust women. His mother often told him out, and even he did not know who his father was. That is why Charlie came to women and treated them in his own way. The complexity of Charlie's personality has been reflected in the films he participated in. In his roles, Charlie often shows his shyness in front of hot women. He approaches them very confused and full of curiosity. For easygoing women, Charlie's character has a way of acting shy and arrogant, often using a stick to pull her neck or pull her legs closer. Also, because of his psychological strength, he's also a very good actor. He has a lot of love for women. Charlie has experienced many marriages, many love affairs. The king has 4 marriages, of which 3 are the first ones he has always been forced to commit crimes, abuse, torture, and sometimes quite violent. Still a child, the king forced his wife to Kutya, love the actress in a red dress, and got married and left in 1995, and confessed that he was divorced because of his roughness in scenery for her husband getting married. The second missing Charlie term, also full of secrecy. His second wife is Lita Gray, born in 1908. The couple started dating the year Lita, just 12 years old, and Charlie was 32 years old. Kandil Ahichu and his second wife were married, but for 2 years later, Lita became pregnant. Alternatives. However, only 3 years later, Lita decided to divorce. In this divorce, Lita's lawyer gave the name of the 6 actresses who had married Charlie and his personal evidence when the 2 kings were still living with Lita. After the divorce, Lita was divided by Charlie for $25,000, the largest amount in the divorce history at the time. Of the 4 wives of Charlie, the third wife, Paulette Goddard, born in 1911, is considered the most prominent. She is the main actress in Charlie's final movie, Modern Times. In this marriage, Charlie continued to play the control role. He also pressured his wife on the set. They broke up in 1940 when the movie The Great Dictator just came out. At this time, Charlie was 51 years old. He had a very happy life. With 3 breakups, Charlie was finally lucky to find happiness at the age of 54. He got married for the 4th time and lived to the end with Ona O'Neill, an 18-year-old girl who just graduated from high school in 1943. The father-sister are hard to get close. The nightmares in the soul not only hindered the King Charlie Chaplin from getting married happily, but it also made him a hard-to-get father. Charlie studied English from school and studied poetry in In between, before the show, the iOS emergency light bulb light was turned off. An enemy of Charlie started to fall in with gunfire while several people were still asleep. From the moment no credits garnered, the city went into an unpleasant 50-minute starving group, like, well, electrification. Hi Eon, I am Yang Changlok, a little boy at the time, your naive shopkeeper. There is only one strange thing is that Charlie works very closely with children, as with the boy Jackie Corgan, who appeared in the film The Kid in 1921. Explaining this, he said that children can play a scene without losing their joy and excitement. I've seen children act a scene dozens of times, but the focus and excitement are still intact. With no much fun in childhood, so throughout his life, Charlie has hidden his life behind the scenes. He does not allow reporters, photographers to appear on his film set. Only friends who help the photographer are trusted by Charlie to be allowed to bring the camera there. With the press, he always tries to block unfavorable information related to him. Later, Charlie fell ill and died in Switzerland in 1977, ending a life full of change. However, the name, age, and the films he has produced are still alive in the hearts of fans. Until now, every time asked who is the world's most famous hero, millions of fans still happily say that it is the hero Charlie.